Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov gang. Tonight, Ayaan Hirsi, Brandeis, and Double Standards. We have a very special guest with us this evening, Daniel Mael, a Truth Revolt reporter and a student at Brandeis University. Daniel, what an honor to have you on the Glazov gang.
Thank you for having me on, Daniel.
Fantastic. Now, the last time we talked, you were in a very elite office. Right now, what is going on? I've heard a rumor you were outside a garage, or there's some sort of problem at the moment?
You got to give me a little bit of a break because, we have vacation now from school, so back home.
Okay, fantastic, Daniel. Daniel, look, thank you so much for being a brave freedom fighter. You're speaking out for the truth at Brandeis. Let us begin. You did a super job on Megyn Kelly, talking about the double standards of Brandeis University rescinding this honorary degree and taking it away from Ayaan Hirsi. Give us your thoughts on what's been happening.
I think as a student, what I'm looking for most from my university is consistency. And I think that, as is the case with Ayaan Hirsi, the university has proven to be inconsistent. In 2006, there was an uproar about Tony Kushner receiving an honorary degree. And the past president of the university said that they were able to honor Tony Kushner for his work as a playwright, one of the best playwrights of his generation, and that was completely separate from his stances on Israel. And I think that here, Brandeis pivoted from this position, and they said that because Ayaan Hirsi has harsh views of Islam, or harsh views on all organized religions, I might add, therefore, she can't be honored for her work to further women's rights and human rights. And as a student, especially one that has accepted the standard and the goals of Brandeis and of other liberal institutions, I think that it's hypocritical, and I think that the university should remain consistent across the board.
Thank you, Daniel. Now, you do excellent work at truthrevolt.org, and you've written quite a few pieces on this. Now, one of your recent pieces, you pointed out, it's not just the pressure from the Muslim Brotherhood groups, Muslim Brotherhood front groups, and other Islamist influences. There was a faculty petition. And so, obviously, but we've got the left involved here. Tell us a little bit of what went on behind the scenes in terms of these leftist academics, why they were so, horrified and indignant about a hero like Ali coming to their campus.
So from the text of the faculty petition, it was clear that there was concern about what honoring Ayaan Hirsi would do. And the faculty petition stated that there was kind of some sort of triumphalist narrative of the West that couldn't be accepted, and that by honoring Ayaan Hirsi, somehow the university would be honing in unfairly and somehow indicating that these kind of the female genital mutilation and honor killings were unique to Muslim society, which is not true at all. And I think you accurately pointed out in your article. You did a fantastic job. And as a student, I think it's really concerning when you have so many faculty members. I think it was 29% of the faculty, 87 faculty, signed this petition. And again, it was only leaked later, and I was curious why the faculty didn't publish the petition if this is what they sent to the president.
Now, your thoughts overall on the hypocrisy here. I mean, first of all, let's even begin with this. Ayaan Hirsi is a woman that had female genital mutilation perpetrated against her by Islam in Somalia. You would think that women who were concerned about women's rights would be embracing this woman, giving her their empathy, fighting against the ideology that engendered this crime against her, and she represents millions of Muslim women. Tell us about how the hypocrisy works and how there's so much heartlessness in the left in terms of this issue.
Well, I think that if we examine the role of the Council for American Islamic Relations, if we examine CARE, who started tweeting about the student petition right after it came up, I think that if we examine CARE's role, it's very telling, because CARE has been attempting and actually succeeding in blocking screenings of the new movie Honor Diaries, which Ayaan Hirsi served as an executive producer. And I've seen this film a number of times, And the film exposes the unfortunate consequences of extremist cultures under which women are the victims. And CARE has been attempting to block screenings of this film. And if Brandeis University were to have honored Ayaan Hirsi Ali for her efforts in stopping honor killings, in stopping female genital mutilation, in stopping forced marriages, it would have been CARE's worst nightmare, because it would have told the world that Ayaan Hirsi Ali is doing noble work, and not only that, but her work and everything around it actually needs to be exposed. And CARE has been working to stop this exposure. So the card that CARE is playing, and CARE is attempting to stand up for the rights of Muslims in America, but they're confronted with this idea that they have someone who's also standing up for the rights of Muslims worldwide, yet is doing it in a different fashion, and it's clearly confusing the organization.
Daniel, before we move forward, I want to talk a little bit about the impact that this is making in on several realms. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Daniel. You're at truthrevolt.org, obviously a conservative, a very brave and noble student. How did it happen that you're not a leftist? Can you give us a little bit of your background?
So I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts. I actually went to a pluralistic Jewish day school in Waltham for high school, and I've been around leftist institutions my entire life. And I think that what spoke most for me was some of the hypocrisy that I saw, because growing up through these institutions, I always disagreed on policy with some of the, be it teachers in high school or professors in college. And I also acknowledged that people on the right were not bad people. And oftentimes I felt this demonization of people on the right and people in conservative politics. And what I was looking for was an honest view on policy without necessitating a demonization of the opponent. Mm-hmm. And personally, as a 21-year-old college student, when I look at issues of policy and I remove the emotions from it, I come out on the conservative side of things. And I acknowledge that there are people on both sides of the issues that are good people. Now the question is, what policy is best for specific instances, and I come out on the conservative side.
Daniel, a lot of people in academia are terrified and they stay in the closet in terms of their politics. Conservatives, many of them hide in the closet because they're afraid that it will hurt their employment opportunities, it'll hurt their chances of getting a good grade, because we know that in leftist academia, the left controls the campuses, they control, most of them are professors. And I've seen this with my own eyes. They do punish in terms of intellectual diversity if you're not following the party line. What makes you not afraid?
Perhaps my stupidity, but in the sense that I don't realize what's going on until after the fact. For example, when I found the petition, I felt that the world should know what the faculty said, and a number of students actually sent me messages telling me that somehow I was brave for publishing the petition because you don't know what faculty will be offended. But that didn't even cross my mind, because I think that the absolute goal needs to be the truth. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's also very unfortunate, because I can't tell you how many students send messages saying that they agree with what we've written on Truth Revolt, or we agree with general conservative politics or conservative policies, but they're, again, concerned about job employment, are concerned about how they'll be perceived by their friends. And what I often say is, I don't know that I'd want to be friends with people that would disrespect you simply because of a position you hold on policy. I think we should expect more of everyone that's involved.
Yeah, it's incredible. I spent many years in academia, and it's very, very intriguing to me how the left postures as if it's for diversity, but it's for diversity except the intellectual variety, and I guess a lot of other instances as well. Daniel, what are you and some like-minded, brave freedom fighters doing at Brandeis right now to try to counteract this situation that happened with Ali?
So at truthrevolt.org, we've launched a petition to request that the university re-extend the offer to Ms. Hirsi Ali to receive the honorary degree. And also, something that somehow was swept under the rug was that she was also scheduled to speak at one of the mini commencements. And again, I think there should be a separation, because even if they're going to revoke the honorary degree, I think she still should be able to speak. So our petition also asks that she be re-extended the offer to speak. And in terms of students on the ground, we're currently organizing, and we're figuring out the best way as students to proceed forth. Because again, this is just asking the university to remain consistent. And if the university wants to set the expectation that everyone's allowed to speak, regardless of how crazy their ideas are, and Ayaan Hirsi Ali's ideas are not particularly crazy, but the university prides itself on freedom of expression and free exchange of ideas, and Ayaan Hirsi Ali needs to be given the same honor.
Absolutely. I love how in the faculty petition they warn that if she comes, it might create quote-unquote unnecessary controversy. Like as if debate and intellectual diversity and dialogue and different opinions are somehow a nightmarish thing. You know, it's incredible how they call themselves out and they don't even realize they're doing it and paint themselves as despots and tyrants.
Perhaps we should nominate Kermit the Frog to receive the honorary degree. He'll be inoffensive. I mean, again, I think in today's day and age, no one is expecting everyone to be in unison on every single policy. I'm sure there are things that we disagree with. I'm sure there are things that I know that I disagree with Ayaan Hirsi Ali on a number of things, as I disagree with many other people that receive honorary degrees, including Jill Abramson of the New York Times. I disagree with the Times on many of the things they publish, but I still think she should receive an honorary degree. And again, I think that it sends a dangerous precedent when we start letting the university play the role of the thought police. And this is actually something that is now moving to another campus, because if you look at Rutgers University, the student paper actually just published an editorial saying that Condoleezza Rice should be disinvited from the commencement ceremony because somehow her actions as Secretary of State are not consistent with the values of the institution. And again, this is really, really dangerous if we're going to let students and faculty start policing who is acceptable and who isn't.
Well, Daniel, and you also pointed out in your article at Truth Revolt on when Kushner was invited that he's made anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli remarks, but when he was invited and people mentioned this, the position of the university president at that time was, we don't really get involved and we don't care what the political opinions are of the people we invite. So they're not interested in the political disposition of the person they invite when it's an anti-Semite, but if it's somebody standing up for the victims of Islamic gender apartheid, then it matters.
You're right on point here. Might I add that I've spoken to a number of alumni who actually graduated in that class or graduated within that time frame, and people were really outraged. They didn't understand how Brandeis University was honoring Tony Kushner because it was very difficult for them to overlook his questionable remarks. And I think that it's unfair of the university to somehow now change tune on this issue, because they've also honored Desmond Tutu and a number of other people that are highly questionable. And again, I just don't think it's the role of the university to play the thought police.
Thank you, Daniel. You know, it's very inspiring to see young people such as yourself on the campuses starting to fight, because we have a problem in this country with getting young people involved, but also in terms of conservatives not really knowing how to fight political war in terms of how the left knows how to fight political war. We've just got a couple minutes left. I wanted to ask you this. You've written about this. Recently, very strange, Harvard University sent some students on a tour of Israel. It was sponsored by Hillel. And there was this photo taken by these students from Harvard at Arafat's grave, a mass murder. What happened there? You've written about it. Tell us about it.
So there were 50 students were taken on a trip by 6 Israelis under the sponsorship of Combined Jewish Philanthropies of Boston, Harvard Hillel, and various other families and individual donations. And they went on a trip across Israel, and they also met with the leadership of the Palestinian Authority. And when they were in Ramallah, they actually stopped at Yasser Arafat's grave, and they took a photo. And that photo came to my attention, and we recorded on it at Truth Revolt. And I think that we expected that there would be universal condemnation of the photo, and that there would be a quick apology, but instead what we faced was a number of different people trying to attack us and other people that reported on the story as being on the extreme edge of the Jewish community. And then we've consistently seen that people are trying to defend the actions. And Jamie, I think this speaks to the greater problem plaguing America, but people seem to think that context somehow makes everything okay. So they said, okay, 95% of the trip was perfect and there was 5% that was questionable, therefore we should overlook the 5%. But Truth Revolt, and I think everyone that's defending America recognizes that there simply is no excuse for taking a photo on next to the grave of a mass murderer. That's simply beyond the pale.
Well, imagine you take a picture, at a grave, Mao's grave or Stalin or Pol Pot's. It's incredible, these double standards in terms of Yasser Arafat and just the mass murderer that he is, that there wasn't more of an outcry. We have under 30 seconds to hear your final words of wisdom, Daniel. What are they?
So, again, as a Brandeis University student, I hope that people can take from this Hirsi Ali story to remain committed to freedom of speech, freedom of expression. She's critical of all organized religion, and I think that we should hold ourselves to the expectation that we're able to handle other people's opinions and that the free exchange of ideas is not beyond the pale, and we should recognize people when they're deserving of recognition, specifically Hirsi Ali. And if anything good comes of this incident, it's now the entire world knows who Ayaan Hirsi Ali is, the work she's doing, and hopefully we can work together to further human and women's rights across the country and across the world.
Daniel Mael, thank you very much for standing up for a modern-day freedom fighter and a hero like Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Thank you for all the wonderful and fantastic work you're doing at Truth Revolt. And we'll see you again very soon on the Glazov Gang, right?
Yes, sir. I'm here anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Good night.